Hi, I'm Keith Cottrell. Welcome to this video tutorial on having a walk through the interface of the Bitmex exchange trading platform. Let's think about things logically, because when you actually take a first look at this, it becomes rather overwhelming. There's a lot of flashing going on, lots of options. So let's go through this logically. We've opened an account and we need to fund the account, and on the Bitmex exchange this can only be funded by using Bitcoin. So if you've not seen the videos, there are two videos in step 3 on actually funding and then transferring Bitcoin to the Bitmex exchange. Then take a look at those, and that brings us to the first part of the interface. If you come up to the top here, you will see that we've got this account summary there, what's in the wallet. As it's Bitcoin, it's referred to as a wallet more so than an account. And then over on the left here we've got account information as well. If we click on this or this, you can see the total wallet balance, how much is actually in the trading account there, margin balances, etc. And then also over on the right here, again you get another summary, and then below here you've got the transaction history for the account as well. So it shows you a complete summary after you have made any trades. So this can be accessed from both here and from here. If you want to know how to deposit funds, then again this is covered in step 3 videos, and also withdrawals. And if we go back to the trade now, so we've deposited funds and we want to trade, and across the top here you will see there are a selection of futures contracts that we can actually trade on the Bitmex exchange, and our primary concern is Bitcoin. So let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. The first thing is we have the perpetual contract. This is a contract, by the very definition of perpetual, means that it doesn't expire and continues to roll. It's a cash market effectively. And then next to this we've got the August up and down the range, and then over on the right we've got the September and December's futures contracts, which means obviously they expire, one in September, one in December. But our primary concern is the Bitcoin perpetual contract. That's the one we're going to be looking at. So now we've established the contract, we need to know what sort of orders are flowing through the system, and that's all shown in the order book. This is the number of trades that have been placed on the exchange by individuals. And again, just to remind you of what was in the reasons why I use the Bitmex exchange, is because this is all peer-to-peer, all traders trading against one another, not the exchange actually controlling the buying and selling of these contracts, but by other individuals. So again, you have an element of transparency that you don't get if you were to trade through a broker trading futures contracts, let's say in the US. On the right hand side we have the recent trades. These are the trades that have just been filled. You can see them all there, including the volumes as well. You see those there, and also the price when they were actually filled as well. Sorry, the time when the order was filled, and then the price as well. So below this we've got the orders panel, and starting on the left we've got the symbol that we're actually trading. We've got also listed below this whether it's a buy or a sell, the two options that we have. Next to this we've got active orders, those orders that have been placed. We've got stop orders, so if we were to buy an order on a certain stop price or for stop losses, they will be shown here. All filled orders, and then we've got our order history there as well. I'm just going to scroll down a bit. And then once the orders are filled, you'll see we've got the open positions and closed positions. In the opens positions, again we'll have the symbol, which is going to be the XBT USD perpetual contract. The size is the number of contracts that we've actually bought or sold, their value, the entry price which we paid for it, and then there's this curious thing called the mark price. And the mark price is a combination of Bitstamp, GDAX, also known as Coinbase ProNow, and the Bitmex index, and this creates a price that is slightly different from the one you will see here. And the reason for this is to stop big traders coming in and slamming the prices. As I said earlier, this is a peer-to-peer platform, and the last thing you want is somebody who has the financial clout to come in and destroy it for everybody else. So they have what's known as the mark price, and that by combining the other exchange prices to create the mark price, this overcomes the issue of big traders coming in and taking advantage of the smaller ones. Then got the liquidation price. Again, I've done lots of videos on this, and the reason for the liquidation price is because the exchange, as we looked at earlier, you can deposit a small amount of money and you can borrow from the exchange, and we'll come to where that happens shortly in the video. So in order to cover their risk of you having a trade and then clearing off and not having a stop loss in and leaving the exchange with the problem, they won't let it go negative on your account, so they will liquidate the position, and depending how much you borrow will depend on the liquidation price. So they will close out the trade, you don't get a margin call, and they're not exposed either. But you should never ever have a situation where you end up having your position liquidated. You should always have some sort of protective stop in, but that's what the liquidation price will be on the order ticket. Then got the margin, how much margin is required to hold a position. You've then got unrealized P&L, and again, this shows you what the potential profit is on the trade while it's open, and then obviously you've got the realized gain and then closed position as well. When we look at the orders on the Bitmex platform and also submitting orders, managing orders, we'll come back and revisit this window here. Also in the middle at the top, which we haven't covered yet, we've got the charting window. I don't use this to get into the market, but once I'm in the market, then I will use a wonderful feature that they have in this that allows you to actually move the stop by actually just dragging the horizontal line on the chart. And again, we'll look at that in more detail when we look at submitting orders and the different types of orders on the trading platform. But now let's move over to the left hand side. I'm just going to close up these two panels here just to remove a bit of confusion, and we'll just have a look at this one where we've got contract details, and this ties in with the selection of the market we wanted to trade in the first place. It just gives you more details. It shows you the pricing, where it comes from, the index price, the volumes for the last 24 hours, the open interest, that's the number of contracts that are open, and then the funding rate, which I'll come to in a moment, and then the value. The funding rate is very simple to explain. If you've ever traded on a spread betting platform and you've held a position overnight, then you are subject to a small charge and cost. The Bitmex platform has the same thing, except it's every 8 hours. So this happens 3 times within every 24-hour period. And you will see whether the funding rate is on the long or the buy side. But one way to remember this quite simply is that if it's a bull market, the shorts get paid. And if it's a bear market, then the longs get paid. So that's all you need to know about that. And what I tend to do is actually I'm never in the market for more than the sort of 8-hour period anyway, as a rule. And if I am going to be, then I want to be on the side of the funding. But there is more information on this in the help section, which you will find under references here if you want more on that. So that's the contract details. And another thing to keep in mind here is that $1 is the equivalent to 1 contract, so it's 1 for 1, easy to remember there. So let's go to the top now, because obviously we've funded the account, we've got a trading signal, and we want to trade. And we're going to place our order in this top section. That's where we place it initially, and starting from the top we've got all of these different types of orders, and again I'm going to cover this inside of the dedicated video where we look at orders, what they mean and how many, how you place the number of contracts, etc. And then below this we have how much it's going to cost in margin to actually do the trade, the order value and available balances, and then the type of we see down here we've got the type of trigger that we're going to use, and again I'll cover this in the videos on orders. So that's where the order will be placed. It's not as confusing as it actually looks. So in your position, it's quite simple really. Think of it as a bank provided by Bitmex. This is where you can borrow off the exchange, and as we can see here, we can go from 1 times up to 100. Now I certainly wouldn't recommend 100. That would be financial suicide, to say the least, especially with a small amount in the account. Also, just to remind you, there are many videos that I've recorded about that talks about this in a lot of detail. So I'm not going to go into too much here, but this is basically, as I say, the area of the Bitmex exchange where you can borrow off the exchange in order to trade a lot using a small amount. And it's not as scary as it actually sounds. And again, watch the videos on this to understand what's behind it. So once we've decided that we're going to make the trade and we don't have sufficient funds, and I certainly don't in this account at the moment, you can see that the market's trading at 7,385. In this account at the moment, we just got over $1,200. So you can see I don't have enough to trade the full amount of Bitcoin, and yet I can by borrowing up to 10 times leverage on the exchange and doing this trade. And for that potential risk, there we just come back down to here, then Bitmex are going to put in a liquidation price to cover their backs. And again, I'll go into this in more detail in the other videos. This is more of a walkthrough just to show you what all the panels mean and where to find them. So in summary, we've looked at funding the trading account, and we can do that in both of these two options here. The contract we've looked at here, and also here, and of course here as well. And over on the left we've got the orders, the types of orders that we can trade with. We've also got the amount of money that we can borrow from the exchange as well. And then on the main part here, we've got the number of orders that are being placed on the exchange. Over on the right, we've got the number of trades that are being filled. And then below this, we've got all of the information that is relevant to those orders, whether they are pending, whether they are active, whether they're stops, whether they're open positions. All of that is provided below there as well. Now across the top, we've also got a reference, which is the help file. Any questions that you have a look inside of here. You will see, well, you'll get the answer to absolutely everything you want inside of there. Again, in contracts, you'll find all sorts with the contracts as well. No problem there. One feature that you might want to have a look at here is the leaderboard. It shows you the traders who are making the most profit on the trading platform, and there's some serious profits being made here. As you will see, this is the top 25 traders, and you'll see that also they're not using their real names. This is an option that Bitmex allow, and you can turn this off in the preference section of the site as well. And there you can see 5,252 Bitcoin, then times that by the current price to give you an indication of how much is being made there. So that's the Bitmex trading platform. I don't think there's anything else to cover here. If you do have any other questions, then do let us know. But that's it for this whistle-stop tour of the Bitmex trading platform. Any questions, let us know. But other than that, as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.